Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling to order this meeting of the Council of the Town of Oakville. Madam Clerk, I see we're all in our places and we have no regrets. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest, Council? I see none. I would invite everybody to join Council in singing "O Canada." Please rise. Thank you, everybody. Please be seated. Council, are you satisfied with the minutes of the previous council meetings as listed in the agenda and distributed? Councillor Adams is moving confirmation. Seconded by Councillor Knoll. All in favor? And that is confirmed. Now, Council, we have a rare pleasure in front of us. Mr. Wayne Hussey, the Chief Operating Officer of the Oakville Gymnastics Club, is here to present you with a check. And as I understand it, it's the final payment towards the town's loan. Mr. Hussey, did you bring your check?
It's in the mail.
Thank you, Mayor Burton. First of all, I want to make sure that I take this opportunity to thank you all for your support over the years. It's greatly appreciated. We have a little quote back at our office: success breeds success, and we think we're successful because of the partnership we have with the town and the support you've given us over the years. We've accomplished so much. I'd like to just take a few little minutes before I present this whopping big check. As you'll know, it is the last one. We had talked about getting a huge big one, but this one is for a small amount, so we decided to keep it small. I'd like to thank you, Mayor Burton, for all your support over the years with our partnership and our use of space at the town center. Councillors, a lot of you were not here when we first started years and years ago, so I might just take you back down memory lane. And for those that were here from the beginning and saw all this happen, again, my and the club's appreciation. Ray Green, I'm glad Ray's here tonight because he's probably one of the more memorable people I can say throughout the whole process. That when I say memorable, I mean that I could always find him when I needed him. You know, and sometimes that's not always easy to do when things are not always going the way you want. But Ray was always there for us, and he always knew what we were after, and he always, I think, saw the big picture with us. So thank you, Ray, for all your support. Colleen Bell, I'm glad she's here as well. She's a newbie to us, but we like her. She's continuing on our quest for further partnership, and we've had a lot of productive talks over the few years that Colleen's been with us. They're not here tonight, but some of you will remember Dominic Leonardo, who is a very big supporter and really big help and did a lot of work behind the scenes to allow this process to flourish over the years. So, if you're talking to Dominic, he finally just gave me his LinkedIn address, so I'll thank him. But if you ever bump into him, thank him for us. Bob Perkins and Frank Cooney were two of the people that first approached me years ago to enter into this process. And again, I see Frank because he does some work for me on the occasion, and we know that Bob has left us. But again, I think they need to be mentioned as we move forward. Also, the Parks and Rec Department, Finance Department, Building and Planning Department, and every bloody department you guys have here, we've probably dealt with over the years. So we want to thank everybody that we can without mentioning too many names. So 13 years ago, the town asked us to partner with them in the library to gain access to some government grants and hopeful for expansion, the Glen Abbey Rec Center. We agreed to this nice, good-looking $2 million facility that before it got started turned into $2.5 million, that turned into a $3 million, that turned into a $3.3 million. So we were worried about maybe biting off more than we could chew because, like I said, our board was volunteer board of directors. A lot of them whose families wouldn't be there when the doors opened, so it was tough convincing them for the $2 million, let alone the $3.3 million. But again, we were happy we did. We had grants, we had savings, we had fundraising, but we still needed $1,693,076.59 that you graciously loaned us at 5.5%. So we thank you for that because, again, without that contribution from the town, we wouldn't have been able to proceed. You wanted a 10-year deal. We fought for a 20-year deal, and I think it was obvious we fought for the 20-year deal because the amount went up so high. And again, you went outside your comfort zone to allow us that 20-year deal, and we appreciated it. And we've made some efforts to try to get this money back to you as quickly as possible so that you felt that your decision to partner with us was a good one. So you lent it to us from September 1, 2007 to August 1, 2027, 20 years. We developed a pretty proactive business planning program that allowed us to pay you December 2010 a check for $500,000, and it was one of the big ones that we presented to you here. Then we presented you another one in January 2013 for $300,000. And again, our whole reason for doing this is we wanted to get you paid off, hopefully in that 10 years. So I come to you tonight to say it's our pleasure to pay you off in 9 years and 6 months. The balance of $7,252. Is that correct? That's correct. I didn't want to pay any more or any less. I wanted to do it right on. But it's important to know that this is, kind of a culmination of one part of our agreement, but we obviously have a lot more that we feel we have to offer, and that we want to attract your attention for other things we want to do. It's kind of ironic that we're giving you this today because we just signed a lease for a sublease actually for a 5,000 square foot facility on the North Service Road to accommodate our overflow of potential clients. But we don't want to stop there. We're in talks with Colleen and the town, and we're in talks with the school boards about partnering again for another facility that would, again, accommodate the growth that we have, but also, as we all know, Oakville's growing as well, and those young kids need a place to participate. We're also very proud of the fact that a lot of our staff are young staff people. They come from high school, they go in a coaches training program when they're 14 to 16, and they start coaching at 16, and a lot of them, it's their first job. They're working with kids. We feel the skill traits they're learning are excellent because they're dealing with kids. They're going to be parents one day. They're teaching, they're learning, and they're cooperating with everyone, parents, kids, staff. So we think it's just a really nice process. We have 84 part-time staff members, most of them being young adults. We do have that large waiting list, as I said. We can't gauge it totally, but we know it's in the 500 plus a session. And when you think that we started at 700-800 kids a session, and we're up around 1,400 now, thanks to the facility that you've allowed us to use, we've increased our sales. Again, when we moved in 10 years ago, we had sales of about 700,000. This year we're on target to do 2.5 million. So again, it shows the growth, but the continued growth as well. Research we do a fair bit of research where I sit anyways, and research has showed, it mainly comes from the States, that when you have a rec center in a city or a town, that a lot of times 30% revenue can come back to support that. I don't know what it is in Canada. You guys would know better than I, but those are US statistics. They're now doing a lot of research and doing a lot of projects where if you partner with a non-for-profit, let them use the facility, that increases now by 45 to 75%. Now, I'm going to just pound my chest a little bit and say with us, it's 100%. We take care of it all, and we still generate some profit, because our profit that we're generating now is going to go, again, hopefully to a new facility that we can serve the community as we move forward. I hope we've proven to be a good partner. We call ourselves the Oakville Gymnastics Club. We never suggest that we're anything but. We don't act like we're a standalone. We act like we blend in, and we give you guys as much credit as we can. We don't want to take any. That's kind of not our thing. Ours is to provide opportunity for kids and young adults. So again, I'd like to thank Mayor Burton, present him with this check. I'd like to thank everyone that's helped us at the start. Some of you I see here. I'd like to thank you for those that have been with us on part of the journey. I see some of you here as well. But more importantly, I'd like to hopefully encourage the ones that are going to take the next journey with us to know that we are a viable partner. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. And again, can't thank you enough for all your support. Thank you. Do I have to stop here?
Thank you very much. Don't run away, I'm going to say something.
Okay. I can't just talk about it. I have to shake it. I'll
Might as well
give it to the right person.
I was thinking the same thing.
Hopefully, everybody saw me give the money to the treasurer. Mr. Hussey, Wayne, thank you very much. I have to say a couple things. First, your young staffers that you were just describing so well taught my kids, and my wife and I were very, very happy with what sensitive young people you had, and how good they were with the little kids that we entrusted to your club's care. Can't say enough good about you. And number two, I want to say I salute your very successful 7-year psychological campaign to prove to council and the town that you're worthy of being a partner in a new facility. And as a bonus, I'll say a third thing, which is this council has been very aware that all of the youth sports in our town are the result of the volunteer moms and dads that run the clubs and make them the successes that they are, all across the spectrum of youth athletics. And this council has demonstrated over the last 10 years a superb commitment to the families of this town. And when you're ready, I'm sure that we'll be able to partner with you just as we have with you before and with others before you, and ongoing with other clubs. So we look forward to working with you, because it's this kind of relationship that helps us make Oakville so livable and such a great place to raise a family. So thank you very much. Now, council, we had a light week, so we only have Administrative Services Committee. And Councillor Elgar, I understand you want to speak about item number 2 on that.
Yes, I do, at the appropriate time, Your Worship.
Would you like to do it now?
Sure. Anyway, I did attend the committee meeting last week, and I had asked for a report, and it showed up, when it came, it was on confidential blue paper. So I went through the meetings listed on the town's public website and came up with the same number that is actually in the report, which was 26 confidential items that were on the agenda for P&D, which is what I was looking for. And with the exception of one, every report, 26 of them, all had written reports. And there was one verbal update which said OMB verbal update, and that was actually the degree of information that at least I, as a councillor, was aware of going into a meeting at 7 p.m. And we talk about transparency and accountability. And I got to tell you, I've never been so blindsided in my going on 17 years in this council. And I'm just trying to understand who made the decision of why it was listed this way, since we have up to like 20-some OMB hearings at any time in any calendar year. And this one, you would have no idea, just a straight verbal update. And I'm wondering if we start reporting so that, I know it said in the report that in fact confidential reports are still provided to council from the legal department when staff is seeking direction from council, its clients. But for myself, I don't recall getting anything ahead of time or a heads up that anything big was coming to our P&D meeting on May the 16th. And it bothers me, and I don't know what we can do to solve this going forward, because there was no report to prepare anybody to come into a meeting. And I note that in the minutes that came out of the meeting, it was direction given to staff at the end. That's what and this is all the public information we had. And we, at that time, could not talk to any residents or say anything until it got clearance November 21st because people kept asking, when were council going to deal with the Bronte Green application? The truth was, as we learned, like in late November, that it was done back May the 16th, as staff were, came forward and stated. But it totally upset me. I'm still concerned. I'm still getting calls about it. And I feel this is one area where we have failed the public, not just the public, your councillors, at least myself. I don't know whether other people were given a heads up ahead of time. I know I was not. And I'm wondering who decided to have this title on the paper, and that was it going in. I would appreciate knowing who made the decision to not let council have any forewarning.
Mr. Green?
Through you, Mayor Burton, certainly in terms of an explanation, a confidential memo was given to all members of council as to why the item came as a verbal update without any. That has been detailed in a solicitor-client letter that came through my office. I can only say you the decision to put it on the agenda in that way. I'll accept full responsibility. There were reasons given why we did it, and it was a very rare circumstance, but things were ongoing at the time, and based on the advice I was given, that's how it came out to you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Councillor Elgar?
I just want, will this be the norm going forward also on issues where councillors will be totally blindsided before they enter an in-camera meeting?
Councillor, you're basically asking the question again.
What I'm hoping I might have heard is that no, going forward, we will make every effort possible to ensure, even if the public are not aware, that council has a report. That's what I was hoping to hear, but obviously you're not saying that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Elgar. All right, I need a mover and seconder for the Administrative Services Committee report. Councillor O'Meara and
Sorry, Your Worship. I just have one last thing to say on this issue, because I don't think Councillor Elgar's out on his own on this one. I mean, either we respect the fact that councillors, when they get blue paper, keep that as confidential information, and all the reasons that we got for why it should remain confidential, there's no harm or foul in allowing councillors confidentially to know what the confidential item is what we're going to be speaking about. So all of the reasoning and the information we got really doesn't pertain, because it should never be public if it's between the 13 people here. So, I mean, I would support some kind of direction going forward, saying that councillors should always, at every opportunity, absolutely be aware in confidence, if that's the stake, about what exactly the confidential item is that we're going to be discussing that evening. I don't see why there would be any public or litigation ramifications for that sort of approach if we were to maybe perhaps ask staff to come back with something to ensure that councillors are not going to walk into a meeting where they don't know what they're going to talk about. I would support anything that we could do to ensure that that sort of transparency for these councillors exists. I think that's a minimum that should be expected between the 13 of us for litigation purposes, HR, the reasons why we go in camera. So I didn't mean to step in late there, but I would support anything that brings more transparency to the process, that we know what we're going into prior than us going into it. Do we need a motion for that, or is that, can we ask staff for direction to bring something back to us, or would that be a request for report, Your Worship, or what would you suggest?
The confidential report that the town manager reminded council of satisfied me as to the reasons for why it was done the way it was done. At the appropriate time, when confidentiality is lifted from this matter, I will have more to say on it. And until that time, I guess if you want to change the rules, you need to amend the procedure bylaw, and any two councillors can bring a suggestion to change the procedure bylaw. I think if you give careful regard to the content of the confidential report that the legal department provided on why it did it the way they did it, you may wind up concluding it'd be better to leave the procedure bylaw alone. But it's up to council. It's council's procedure bylaw.
Okay, well, I appreciate the clarification. So I'm happy to move the report then, but I was just hoping, and I got some clarification from you on the matter. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, councillor. I need a seconder.
Just a question. Sorry, you mentioned when the confidentiality is going to be lifted. When is that going to happen?
Eventually, I hope that we can lift confidentiality on more of this matter, because I'm concerned at the, there are things being said that can't be answered because of confidentiality, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can have a more careful conversation about it.
But it was my understanding that the OMB hearing in November advised what was negotiated by the parties. Like, I'm shocked that there's information that we still don't have. That's what you're implying, that there's information that we do not have?
I am not implying that.
Oh.
In no way am I implying that. But I have been unwilling to talk about what went on in the confidential meetings because they were confidential. And at the appropriate time, I intend to talk about them.
Were you aware going into the meeting there was a confidential item and the subject matter?
As the chair of council, I learned that day that we were going to have a matter on that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Grant.
Not to extend this too much further, but just to back up Councillor O'Meara's comments, I'm not sure there's any harm in us examining changing the procedure at least. Because, again, I mean, I never enter a meeting, I never call back a resident, I never deal with the public without at first knowing what it is I'm dealing with. So I've got at least some plan as to where my position could be, or at least have some understanding of the issues involved before I sit down to a meeting and understand. I mean, getting into this one confidential meeting, it was a little difficult to start parsing some of the issues when we had no forewarning.
Councillor, it is council's procedure bylaw, and it is always in order for council to consider what it wants in its procedure bylaw. I don't want my remark to have been taken as against council examining its procedure bylaw.
Just, it seemed as if we were caving quickly, and I just wanted to make sure at least we were still considering the idea.
At any time, council is free to work on its procedure bylaw. I still need a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Grant. May I put the vote? All in favor? The report is adopted. Council, we have no confidential consent items, and given the discussion about confidentiality, it's probably just as well. That brings us to a discussion item number 1, and our only public discussion item, and that's the Oakville Enterprises Corporation quarterly update. And with us tonight is the president of OEC and many of his fine folks. And Mr. Lister, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor Burton, councillors. Thank you very much for the opportunity this evening to present to you. We enjoy coming here and giving a quarterly update on what's going on at Oakville Enterprises and Oakville Hydro. This evening with me, I have 2 board members and 4 of my staff. We have Marie Oswald, who's the chair of the board of Oakville Enterprises and Oakville Hydro. John Mitchell, who's chair of our Finance and Audit Committee. And then my staff, we have Scott Moody, who is Chief Operating Officer of Energy and Infrastructure Services. We have Mike Brown, who's Chief Operating Officer of Oakville Hydro. We have Simon Abbott, who's the VP of HR. And we have Mary Caputi, who is our VP of Innovation and Growth. Now I'm going to have Mary come up and one more. Who did I miss? Oh, Lucy Casillo from Siemens, another board member. Didn't realize you were here, Lucy. Thank you for coming. Thanks for mentioning that, Scott. So Mary's going to come up and talk about a number of things. We have a presentation here. We're going to talk about the new regulations that are affecting the disconnecting of hydro customers during winter months for non-payment, some winter energy consumption information, our industry-leading system reliability, conservation and demand management in Oakville, an overview of the new Electra utilities, which is the result of the MergeCo merger that's been going on for a couple of years now, and then a few other topics. So I'll ask Mary to come forward and make the presentation. Thank you. Mary?
Thank you, Rob. Good evening, Mayor Burton and town councillors. In the past few weeks, there has been much media and news on winter disconnections for hydro for all customers in Ontario. Oakville Hydro is very proud that it works very closely with Oakville residents to give them options. Oakville Hydro's policy on winter disconnection was not to disconnect any single-family dwelling home during the winter months, and it has now extended this policy to ensure that no residential customer is cut off during the winter months. However, this was not the case for some other local distribution companies in Ontario. And last week in Queen's Park, Bill 95 was passed to give the Ontario Energy Board the power to ensure that there is no disconnections happening during the winter months. The Ontario Energy Board has now provided direction to all the local distributors and the gas companies that it is illegal to do so, and has extended the period till April 30th of this year. In addition, the Ontario Energy Board has clarified that it is also banning the use of load limiters. These load limiters are used by both Oakville Hydro and other local distribution companies at times. These devices are designed to control the amount of load that is used in the home to ensure that the customer has enough heat and is able to have their essential services or needs. Oakville Hydro has now reinstated the 21 residential customers that were on load limiters, and they are now back to full service load. How is our consumption this winter? Well, in November and December of 2016, our energy consumption was up 6% in comparison to November and December of 2015. However, in January, we had a warmer month, and this resulted in a reduction in our energy consumption of about 2% in comparison of January of 2016. Our industry-leading service reliability. Bringing reliable and continuous power is critical to the Oakville community. In 2016, an average customer would have experienced less than one outage in the year. The average number of minutes that the customer is interrupted was 29 minutes. And of that 29 minutes, 10% are planned system outages or upgrades. These planned outages are communicated to the customers well in advance of the event. Based on a preliminary comparison with 7 other local distribution companies, Oakville Hydro has the highest reliability statistics for the 2016 year. We did have one large outage in the summer in August of 2016, which was a pole fire that is depicted on the photo. Oops. It occurred on Upper Middle Road and 6th Line. And it was a substantial amount of work to get it back to its original state. Having said that, it only took through the system automation systems that we do have, we were able to get 62% of the customers back with power within 6 minutes. Ooch, jeez. Sorry.
Uh-oh. We're just trying to go.
I didn't touch anything.
Okay, I think you just gotta start again.
It's not moving.
You may have to just reboot the PowerPoint then.
Sorry.
No problem, sorry about that. And so it looks like if you right click and you hit next, it may
So
work.
did I do this one maybe?
Let's see if this will work. No, this is not working as well.
Okay, so then.
Yeah, so use the mouse,
Okay.
then hit right click and just go next. And then you have previous as well.
Oh gosh. Can you sit here? No,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Then you're gonna
Hit this.
hit that button right there. And then there you go. Okay, if you need anything, I'm right here.
Jeez. Oops, I'm going backwards.
Next.
Sorry about that. How we're maintaining our system. As part of our asset management program, here are some upcoming projects, areas in which Oakville Hydro will be working on for the first half of the year. For the underground projects, most of them are being done in Ward 2 and 3, in the Pine Grove, Yorick, Slate, and Mary Street area, Cynthia Lane and Colleen Drive, Brook Mill, and Devon Road. For the overhead distribution system projects, we have work being done in Lynbrook Road, Duncan Road, Glen Forest, and Highland Road. We are also in the next few months working on relocating our distribution poles on Dundas Road as it gets widened between Oak Park and Neagawa. Our conservation focus. Oakville Hydro is committed to meeting its 6-year target of 92.4 gigawatt hours, which commenced in 2015 and ends at 2020. We are delivering provincial-wide programs that span all of our customers for the Oakville base, which includes residential, small businesses, and large commercial customers. For the first 2 years of the framework, we have achieved 36% of our target. And when we achieve at 2020 our target, this will be equivalent to having 10,265 average residential households off the grid. The newest local distribution company. Effective February 1st, 2017, 3 local utilities with regulatory approval have merged to become Electra Utilities. This consisted of EnerSource, Horizon Utilities, and PowerStream. Tomorrow, this entity will purchase Hydro One Brampton from the province of Ontario. The map depicts the different communities it serves across Ontario. The new entity will provide electricity to almost 1 million customers. One of Oakville Enterprises Corporation's businesses called PVS Contractors recently secured a contract to perform utility locates in the Toronto West region. This was a welcomed expansion for this business. The contract will serve the City of Toronto, Bell, Enbridge Gas, and Toronto Hydro, and it's anticipated to provide 250,000 locates in the year. From the generation perspective, in 2016, our ground mount solar panel farm in Picton, Ontario, performed well. The 46,000 solar panels generated 17,738 megawatt hours of green energy. This generation is equivalent to 1,900 average households in 1 year. These panels are cleared of snow during the winter months to ensure energy is generated at all times of the year. Lastly, Oakville Hydro and its employees is engaged to support the community with participation at the Courage Polar Bear Dip, attending the mental health in the workplace session, and curling for kids for big brothers and sisters. We're also pleased that in 2016, our employees raised $30,000 for the United Way of Oakville. Thank you. Are there any questions? Oh.
I know you said you're going to reduce 10,000, equivalent to, but I just wondering, what are you projecting to ramp up to for additional houses?
So we've had a growth rate at about 1.2 to 1.5% annually in the last 3 to 5 years.
So you're projecting that will continue?
Correct.
Next question is, how are you cleaning your solar panels? It's a legit question.
I'll have to refer that to.
Well, yeah, well, through you, Mr. Mayor, we have a pretty neat system. We actually have a jet engine on a tractor that runs down the rows and blows the snow off as it goes down the rows between the panels. So it's pretty cool. That we haven't had a lot of. And actually, and sometimes we do get some issues with the ice. Well, it will form ice on the panels. In that case, you got to wait for it to melt. But when it's fluffy snow, we blow it off with a jet engine. Yeah, thank you.
Councillor, are you going to get a jet engine? Councillor Lischina.
Thank you, Mary, for that presentation. My question goes back to the load limiters. Do we work specifically with residents that are using a high amount of energy that are having difficulty paying for their bills? Are we going to have any kind of an educational program with them? Is it a one-on-one work, or is there anything that that is there to help with not using as much energy and conserve it? And at the same time, obviously, from a local distribution standpoint, we want to make sure that we are getting paid for the energy that's being used.
Mm-hmm. So we try to educate our customers in many ways. So from our website, we also have many customers on My Oakville Hydro in which they can actually see their consumption, where they are, where their neighbors are. So we do have all kinds of programs that help them manage theirs. Now, the ones that are on load limiters, they're usually customers that were almost being disconnected, and that was an option for them. But educating them, that's part of our conservation initiative. So we're always out in the community, always trying to get people to have education and tips on how to save energy.
I guess I'm asking about one-on-one. I'm aware of a resident who's using their oven to heat the home, which is not the right way to do it. So that's why I'm wondering, should I be speaking to Oakville Hydro to have that one-on-one with the customer?
So we do have people that have concerns about where their energy is being used, and we will have someone, our conservation or energy experts, to go to the home to see what areas they can reduce their consumption. And we've had that, so we have that one-on-one. So we'd be happy to have them call us, and we can go out, because we do have individuals that will go out.
Thank you, everyone. Councillor O'Meara.
Happy to move receipt, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded. Oh, Councillor Knoll, though.
Thank you, Worship. A question with respect to the arrears that would be potentially generated through those collection activities. Is it a fact, because this may just be urban legend in my mind, I don't know, but is it a fact that hydro bills that are unpaid can ultimately be attached to the title of the property so that somebody pays them at some point? We never actually lose the money, is that correct?
Hydro bills are not attached.
They're not?
They're not.
So if a renter does not pay the bill and leaves that premise, we have no ability to collect that money after the fact?
Well, we do use collection agencies.
No, assuming we've exhausted every potential collection activity, that utility, that amount cannot be put on as a lien against the property?
That's correct.
Has that always been the case, or was there some point when that was the case?
Ever since I've been here.
Okay. So it's urban legend in my mind then. Thank you.
Well, Councillor, I can tell you that it's no legend that we have to pay the province for all the power, whether we can collect for it or not.
That's really where I was getting at. That's the sad part of it. They make us employ these collection techniques, but yet they don't. They'll still bill us. We can't have the same privilege.
That's right. So your dividend is reduced by our generosity, our forced generosity there. Councillor, would you be the seconder for the receipt? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, and the item is received. Now, Council, we only have one more item. It's confidential human resources matter, so we're going to go into camera, I assume, unless everyone's satisfied with the material that they've received. So I'm assuming we're going into camera. And for the convenience of the public and the media, I want to move the new business section up before that, and that way there's nothing, the public and the media aren't missing anything. There's not anything to be done at the end. And Councillor O'Meara.
Sorry, Your Worship, I just did have one question about the status of outstanding issues, so I'm not sure when the appropriate time to ask about that is.
Let's pull that up too, and we'll pull it up first because it ranks before that. Ask your question.
Thank you. I'm just getting to the page, sorry, it's for staff. I had a question with regards for the report that we asked back for on page 1819 of the status for of outstanding requests for the licensing of Airbnb. The residents in our ward went through a nightmarish hell, to call it simply, last year with these pop-up parties every long weekend throughout the summer. We moved as quickly as possible that fall to try and address it as quickly as I can. And I'm looking at the expected report date back. It's not till the fourth quarter of 2017. So it looks like residents are going to have to go through another summer of this summer. To the best of my knowledge, that wasn't the understanding, at least that I had, or I was conveying to the residents, that we were going to try and act on this as swiftly as possible. So I'm wondering, and I know Mr. Barry isn't here at the moment, but if there's any way we might be able to just look at that and see what we can do, to see if there's anything we can do to do that as quickly as possible, so that we can try and avoid the July-August troubles that we had last year.
Mr. Green.
At this time, I'll commit to at least getting a memo out to council as to why the delay. If it can be moved forward, we'll certainly, but we'll get something out within the next week to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Green. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. Let me see here. So there's also a request for report moved by Councillor Robinson and seconded by Councillor Giddings that staff report back to council on the town's potential support of fair trade and possible initiatives, including product availability, public awareness, education, and community support. I'll call the vote to see if you want to approve the staff work on this. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Request approved. Does anyone else have any other matter of emergency, congratulatory, condolence, request for report? Then I have a proclamation for International Women's Day on March 8th. Whereas the first International Women's Day was observed on March 19th, 1911, in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland, where more than 1 million women and men showed their support by participating in public events. And whereas by 1977, the United Nations had adopted a resolution designating March 8th as International Women's Day, following the United Nations lead, Canada chose March 8 as International Women's Day. And whereas each year, March 8th provides an opportunity to take stock of our progress towards gender equality and to honor the contributions women have made and are making in Oakville, Canada, and around the world. And whereas this year, Canada's theme for International Women's Day is Equality Matters, because the world needs the talents of everyone, women, men, girls, and boys, to truly reach its full potential. Now, therefore, I do hereby declare and proclaim Wednesday, March 8th, 2017, as International Women's Day in the town of Oakville. And I hope that everyone on council joins me in looking forward to a successful day. Thank you, one and all. Now, we need a motion to proceed into a session closed to the public because of subject matter concerning personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations or employee negotiation, and/or labor relations and employee negotiations. And this is under the authority of the Municipal Act, Section 239, and as well our own town procedure bylaw. I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Hutchins, Councillor Chisholm, all in favor? And that carries. Please, I thank the public for their time and interest, and ask the clerks to rig the chamber for a meeting closed to the public. All right, I'm now calling back to order the public session of council. Council has met in a session closed to the public for purposes permitted by the Municipal Act, specifically personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees, and labor relations or employee negotiations. And no action was taken by council in that session.
Can I have a motion to receive the report?
And we now need a motion to receive the information provided. Councillor Hutchins and Councillor O'Meara, all those in favor? Thank you, and that carries. That completes the work of this agenda, council, and I would be very happy to hear a mover and a seconder for the consideration and reading of the bylaws. Councillor Knoll and Councillor Lapworth. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, and the bylaws are adopted. And that does complete our work this evening. It's been great working with you, and we are adjourned.